Hey guys, I am here to make this quick video. I have a very, very big one planned, but somehow time keeps eluding me this week. I haven't even had the chance to go to the movie theater to see my ex-wife, Ana de Armas, in her new film, Ballerina. One of my friends actually worked on that movie in the camera department, and she stood in for Ana de Armas once, and Ana de Armas tapped her on the shoulder. And the cosmos cannot contain my jealousy. All these years later. Yeah, and I just found out a few days ago that my friend, who moved to Sweden with her girlfriend, now they're married, and that made me happy. Yeah, she said she also shared a food tent with her during a meal break, and I was like, oh my god, was she nice? Yeah, she seemed nice. So, not much detail. Anyway, so we're here to examine, however briefly, the idea of Magic Guard Clefable in advance. Knowing what we know about Magic Guard and how it gives Clef viability even in Gen 5 OU, I'm going to go out on a limb and say it'd be pretty crazy in advance. I mean, crazy is the obvious candidate. I mean, it shuts down Gengar so unbelievably hard, and it's not just the sand and spikes of it all, but of course Will-O-Wisp, the most obnoxious move in the game, and it's all its moves, it doesn't care at all. You have to focus punch it, and then you have to, that only works once, and you're not coming close to really threatening it. And Clef isn't even necessarily Doug weak. It can, even if it goes with any sort of physical defense, it can take a CB EQ, and it's got good special attacks, so it can threaten with Ice Beam or counter. I guess you have to watch for Beat Up, but I don't think Beat Up would do that much because it only works on Blissy because Blissy's defense is so ridiculously low. So I don't think it would work on Clef as much. So yeah, Clef is relatively Doug-proof, which is and just the fact that it takes so many hits and Medicham moving up to OU, as if Medicham needed more reason to be used. But, the fact that it stays so healthy and is neutral to so much, letting it take on pretty much everything, it's kind of like an inverse of Snorlax, because Snorlax is so good against offense. That's right, I'm praising Snorlax. It's great against offense because you take pretty much any hit and you blow up whatever it is in return. Obviously, Clef isn't going to blow it up. But, whether it's T-Wave or Encore or... God, I would have to assume that it doesn't get knockoff. I forget how it gets knockoff, but it doesn't have the move in Gen 3 to my... No, it definitely doesn't. Otherwise, I think it would be getting used already. But, yeah, in Gen 4, I'm sure it's like a complex, move tutor thing. So... But I mean, you don't even need the knockoff. Simply, in a world where Toxic, Sand, and Spikes are so powerful, and Will-O-Wisp and Leech Seed, God, Leech Seed Celebi, talk about shutting down an obnoxious Pokemon. To be able to switch into so much and take a big fat 0% from it all is absolutely nuts. Now the question is, what's it going to do in return? The thing is, Clef is again kind of an inverse Snorlax. In the sense that, against the bulky stuff, it is lights out. Especially because it goes for a Calm Mind sweep. You think Calm Mind Blissey is bad. I mean, this is just... wow. But against offense, stuff that's not really concerning itself with indirect damage. I mean, in later gens, obviously, the omnipresence of Stealth Rock and, status even on more offensive Pokemon, throwing around Scalds and whatnot, means that, Clef is going to ignore a lot of passive damage and then thus wall your guys. But in advance, they're not concerned with the passive damage because they have to focus all their efforts. I mean, if they are, then it's a different kind of team. Obviously, I think it would be good into Spike's offense, simply because, you shut down Skarmory, you come in, you start T-waving or throwing around Thunderbolts. Again, Clefable's got that, Blissey move pool thing going on. So whatever you want Blissey to do, obviously it's not going to be the same thing because Clef doesn't completely wall something like offensive Suicune. But the fact is that you can't wear it down with Sand and Spikes. That gives it its own utility. I'm sure we would see Clefable Blissy teams, absolutely. You'd have to be very good into fighters, of course. Talk about Metacham week. But I mean, hey, throw on a Wish Salamence and suddenly you're looking at a pretty nasty team. I don't think that you could really run Clefable and suddenly not be Spikes weak. I don't think it goes that far. Because a good Spike, I think the impact would be pretty positive in that, those mega passive, super fat stall teams that just try to go pure passive damage. I mean, those are flawed already, not just because of the Clef factor. But, the fact that Clef would so automatically shut them down, or near automatically, I mean, what are you even going to do? You're going to start throwing haze on stuff. I don't think that would really work much. Advanced doesn't have good haze users. No, Articuno would not be able to pull it off well, I don't think. So I think the more aggressive Spikes teams, they'd have to be very careful. I mean, also to go back to the Doug Trio thing, Clef isn't very... It can be Doug scared, doesn't have to be, but it's also very good with Doug. Because, and this would make it good even into offense, I think, because it would be Blissy-esque in the way it checks Salamence. It's not a hard counter by any means, but it sure pivots into it quite nicely. But what's really nice is that, these offensive teams are going to be threatening with things like T-Tar, Metagross, and that's where Doug comes in. And honestly, it kind of starts bringing up the question that has been another thing I got to make a video on. Has been on the advanced community's mind recently, the Doug debate. Maybe it's finally crossing a line. The way Clefable's Magic Guard is continuously a subject of debate generation after generation, and you think, oh, in this generation, it's not going to be that busted because reasons X, Y, Z, which is what people used to say about it in Gen 5. And then it got tested, and turns out Magic Guard is just fundamentally crazy. And, as we progress in Pokemon, we find out more and more just how fundamentally strong some strategies are, even with generational differences seemingly making them, palatable. Or, maybe not palatable is not the right word. I don't think it would be breaking the metagame necessarily. But it would be a polarizing figure because, yeah, on one hand, the Doug Trio factor, but on the other, those offensive teams, as we were saying, they're going more direct damage, and, Clef's whole thing is thriving in the face of indirect damage. Now, I say that, but then again, I think about DPP, which has plenty of hard offense that nevertheless seems to struggle with Clef, and you're like, how is this thing shrugging off my Heatran Fire Blast? And so I think it would probably be just fine. I think that also is, though, because in DPP, Clef has more to threaten with. It's got knockoff, it's supported by Stealth Rock as well. So something like a Gyarados or a Dragonite is not as doesn't have the longevity. You might get Spikes, of course, but Spikes hacking apart an entire team in advance works the longer you can draw the game out. And Clef doesn't quite have the raw bulk. I mean, look, I say that, but on the other hand, I know firsthand just how Clef's bulk defies everything. I don't know, I think it depends on the set, right? The set and the matchup you're facing. Because I think, like, Spadef, T-Wave, Encore, what, does it even get Encore in Gen 3? I think it does. Well, it should, because it has it in Gen 2. I don't know if it, like, lost the move in Gen 3 in the transition and then, like, regained it in upon getting a Gen 4 move. I don't think Encore was a Gen 4 move tutor. So I assume it has it. But, like, yeah, T-Wave, Encore, Spadef into, like, Calm Mind spam stuff, that's going to be a pain. T-Wave, Encore, Softwood, Seismic. I guess that one is more Doug vulnerable, though. So, you want to fit the anti-Doug thing, Ice Beam or Counter. But, if you've got a plan for that, then I'm sure it'd still be quite a pain. Or, like, physically defensive. I mean, like, the thing about Calm Mind, physically defensive, Ice Beam T-Bolt, would be that it's great into defense, obviously, because, you switch it in a million times into so many annoying Pokemon, and you threaten the late game sweep. But it's also good into offense, into physical offense, because you are a very, not a perfect answer to DD Ments, because, they run a ton of Spadef, sometimes even Brick Break, but a very good check to DD Ments, just the same way Blissey is. And against Gyarados, it's even better. You're a fantastic Gyarados answer. And with physical bulk, I mean, you don't really threaten T-Tar in the same way, but, you could run a physically defensive set with support, so, T-Tar doesn't switch into you, kindly. It doesn't take too kindly to switching into you, is the better way to say it. So, yeah. I think, Metagross chases it out, sure, but Metagross also hates T-Wave. These things all have to fear counter. So, basically, it's like another Blissey, but one that does really well in the long game. Because, yes, Calm Mind Blissey can threaten and stall against stall teams, against bulky teams in general, against teams in general. But the fact that, it gets phased around, Sand Spikes has to manually heal, does make it more manageable. Whereas Clef is just constantly pressuring you. And if it had knockoff, which it definitely doesn't, then it would be absolutely outrageous. I don't know about broken, but a real pain. And I haven't even gotten into the fact that, it's going to Wish. I mean, I already love Wish Blissey. I made a video dedicated to singing its praises, and I've sung its praises in so many other videos that weren't even about Wish Blissey in particular. But Wish Clef has an even easier time because, what's this? The whole thing about Wish Blissey is, yes, it wishes up and it basically gives your other Pokemon Regenerator, right? Well, now, that works really nicely in long games in particular. It's good in everything, pretty much. But, longer games, it's just a thing of beauty because you can't wear it down. Now, Clefable has an even easier time doing that because it can switch. Obviously, Blissey has to manually heal itself, and it's hard to throw up those wishes when you have to heal yourself first. And with Clef, it's like, your team slows down at all, and it's passing wishes all over you. It almost be like, regen teleport stuff, in Gen 8. Obviously, Clef, of course, used Wish Teleport before the Slow Twins really took off in OU in Gen 8. Yeah, that's right. I have some Gen 8 OU knowledge. I actually played it. I actually invented Specially Defensive Landorus T in Gen 8. That's completely true. It's you can find it on the Smogon forums. It was during the very earliest stages when I was actually actively playing it because of Smogon Tour, and everyone was freaking out about Landorus Incarnate for good reason. And I was like, hey, Specially Defensive Gliscor would counter this thing in this gen because there's no hidden power anymore, so you can't HP Ice it, and you just completely devour it. So I was like, well, Specially Defensive Lando T, same thing. And it turns out it was a great set, and it was a great set even after Lando I got banned. But I made a post about it because I made a team with it, and the people were using my team. I'm starting to turn this into a brag, but sometimes YouTube comments do affect me. I'm a sensitive man. Strong men also cry, to quote The Big Lebowski. And one of the things that really just makes me start throwing up these heaving sobs is the fact that people think I don't know anything past Gen 6, to be generous, and I'm like, so foolish. I'm not saying I'm an expert, but yeah. Anyway, so then I made this team and it got passed around in Smogon Tour, and I felt very proud that if I did put my my best into the current gen, I could still keep up, which I knew because you'd seen it with a bunch of other players before, but turns out, yeah, I mean, I had some bad showings in modern gen anyway, but I've had bad showings in every gen, so and so is every player pretty much. I don't care who they are. So yeah, that was completely unrelated, but I'm glad I got that off my chest finally. Yeah. Kind of reminds me of Orson Welles' career. Kind of, because it's such a shame that, the Citizen Kane guy, not even the Citizen Kane guy, the Touch of Evil guy, which for my money is a better film than Citizen Kane, as great as Kane is, had to struggle so much for his entire life to make his films. God, I really should watch The Trial. I wanted to see it in a theater, and it only showed here one night, and I missed it, and I've been putting it off. Because I know I'll love it, but I want to see it on the big screen, and then I kind of got sore, and I was like, well, if I can't see it on the big screen, I won't see it at all, which obviously is stupid, but, I was just upset that opportunity passed me by, and, to see it for the first time on the big screen. Obviously, a great film is a great film, and I'm sure I'll love it. It's, maybe I'll pop it on tonight. I was originally going to have a date with my wife I met on my birthday, actually, Barbara Stanwyck. Oh my god, I love her. But, who knows? Maybe The Trial is what I need. Anyway, that's basically it. Yeah, Clef would be great in advance. I think it would be I don't think it would be broken. No, not at all. I mean, lower power level than DPP for sure, but it's also got less to work with than DPP. You know, because it's not doesn't have that much passive damage going for it. So, and both in terms of not having stealth rock on everything and also knockoff. So, yeah, I don't know. I think. Sorry, I'm just checking the replay that's on the screen right now. If you're just listening, you're not missing anything. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to check my food because I started on that. Okay, food needs a couple more minutes, so I'm going to take this opportunity to go to the bathroom and put this last replay on for you. And when I get back, I am officially too zonked to continue speaking on the subject of Pokemon. So I will come something, I don't know. Oh, you know what else I should watch? I should finally watch My Own Private Idaho. I know I'll love that. I love Van Sant. Well, sometimes I do. But I love his slow movies. Last Days is probably my favorite. Elephant is great, of course, and Jerry is... I love that Matt Damon and Casey Affleck just trusted Van Sant so much that they basically made an American Bellatar film. That's wonderful to me. Anyway, I'll BRB. You know what? I had my groceries ordered the other day. So I had to make dinner, and I didn't have a lot of time. So I ordered, I usually just buy my carrots at the grocery store right next to my apartment. But I was like, while I'm ordering, I may as well throw in these carrots. And I gotta say, I'm a big carrot eater. I forget what film it was in. I think it was, what was it? It Happened One Night. It was like one of those 30 screwball comedies, which I love. Where I think it was Clark Gable. If It Happened One Night, obviously. It was either that or Cary Grant in something. But yeah, he just said, best thing in the world for you, carrots. And I was like, as a carrot enthusiast of many years, I agree. I don't particularly like the way they taste, but, they're good for you, so. Hope it's ASMR is doing something for someone. Anyway. But yeah, these carrots are just not that good, and it's super bumming me out. Anyway, let's see. God, I watched a great Japanese movie, Mikio Naruse, the fourth master of the golden age of Japanese cinema, after Kurosawa, Ozu, and my favorite, my guy, Mizoguchi. But yeah, this one was real. I love Naruse's Floating Clouds. That's one of my very favorites. And this one was called A Woman's Life, and I thought it was also just fantastic. It has my my favorite actor, actually, Tatsuya Nakadai. I think I've seen like more movies with him than like any other actor, and besides like Samuel L. Jackson. But that doesn't count because he's in everything. And I think Willem Dafoe too. But he's also in everything. So anyway. So yeah, Nakadai is the man. I've been saving my rewatch of Harakiri for when I can, take it all in one sitting. And it's been 2 years since the last one, and I only saw it once before, so I've seen it twice in total. And according to my Letterboxd, you can find me on Letterboxd if you want, by the way. It's Autumn Leaves is my username. And my name is right there. Yeah, and according to Letterboxd, I first saw it June 24th, 2021, and then again June 30th, 2023. So, the anniversary is coming up. So yeah, people are apparently enthusiastic about Raikou in Advance anymore, which comes as a surprise to me. At least like if it's the lead set, okay, but I'm not sure about this whole Calm Mind business, But, I have not investigated the matter, so I'm willing to be surprised, willing to learn. I was always felt very catfished by Raikou before, but maybe some new stuff has come to light. That's got to be another Lebowski quote. I think the dude says it. New things have come to light. I forget the context though, but I can hear it in his voice. New evidence has come to light, man. Careful, there's that dude. I could quote Lebowski. Like, it's not even my favorite Coen Brothers movie, I don't think. Blood Simple is, but there's just something magic to how quotable it is. And my interest in noir currently has me look into a lot of stuff, but Lebowski in particular. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'm glad to be back and hopefully back in the groove. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you again in the next one.